to recap a wild night in playoff action. Well, at least wild on the ice. A doubleheader of round 2 action in the Stanley Cup postseason. Both games go to overtime. We saw double OT not far away from us here in New York City at Madison Square Garden. And the 1 seeds in the NBA playoffs do what you would expect out of a number 1 seed. They roll in the opening game of their second round. So much to get to here, DRS, over these next 3 hours on this Wednesday morning.
Close games on the ice, blowouts in the NBA, and also, if you take a look at Major League Baseball, a lot of RBI going around, which includes Bryce Harper continually popping that baseball into the seats as the Phillies are rolling here in Philadelphia. But we got a lot to get to, a lot of fun to have, so let's get the party started right now, Benjamin.
We're happy for the Fightins, DRS. 7 consecutive wins, longest active win streak right now in the bigs. But when you mention an RBI prop, I thought you were bringing up our guy, Vinny Pasquantino. Vinny P is back, baby. 3 ribbies yesterday for the Royals. After he let us down, we get back on the wagon, and Vinny P delivers. But we start with action around the association. Somebody needs to tell the odds makers, Donnie, that the Oklahoma City Thunder are the best team in the Western Conference and were for the entirety of the regular season. They earned the number 1 overall seed, for crying out loud, and they win by 20-plus last night in game number 1 against the Dallas Mavericks of their second-round series after a 4-game sweep over the Pelicans in round number 1. 5 playoff games for OKC, 5 victories, covering in 4 in a row. Last night as only a 3.5-point favorite against the Mavs at home. 117-95 the final in Oklahoma City.
Seeing the board clearly, and with 5 minutes to go, the Dallas Mavericks were seeing the scoreboard clearly as the game was over and Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving went to the bench. Why? Because the Thunder were the better team. And seeing the board, as I said, the past couple nights, this wasn't one of those games when, last minute, let's on the fly. What do we like? Thunder tonight. No, we saw this game coming for a few days now, and I love the Thunder because why? We're playing the disrespect card. The number 1 overall seed in the Western Conference at home, basically by a bucket. Stop the madness. We knew the Thunder were going to take care of business last night. We knew Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to be around 30 points last night. Best bet winners across the board, having so much fun. And by the way, the teams getting the most disrespect coming into the playoffs for me, the Timberwolves and the Thunder. How about this? We might even have a Western Conference final, Ben, where both of these teams don't even have a loss in the playoffs. How about that?
Donnie, I remember even during the NFL season, when we looked at the early going of this year in the association, asking you the question, having the discussion with you, Oklahoma City and Minnesota, battling for that top spot out west. How would it fare throughout the end of a regular season? Into the playoffs, it turns out those 2 teams that were good at basketball during the regular year are good at basketball during the playoffs as well. If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a points prop under 30, you bet it out of principle. It was 28.5, and he finished with 29 points, 9 dimes and 9 boards as well. OKC takes a 1-0 series lead over Dallas. We expected the Boston Celtics to roll. They were a 12.5-point home favorite last night in their opening game of their second-round set against Cleveland, and that's exactly what the Celtics do. 120-95. Boston wins by 25. They cover as a 12.5-point favorite in Beantown.
Yeah, yesterday, the better bet for me in this one was the total going over, and it did, 120-95. I thought both of these teams could approach 100 points, and certainly the Celtics exceeded that by going 20 over the century mark. I did think the Cavaliers would be able to hang around in this game, and for the first quarter, I guess you can say they did, but also, if you remind me of the handicap yesterday, it was, if you really like the Cavaliers, you better just take them in the first half. Now, granted, they didn't cover the first half number when it was all said and done, but the prophecy was up 18 at the break probably means they'll be up 36 at the end of the game. Same thing, up around double digits at the break, extended that to well over 20 points in the second half. Your only chance to bet the Cavaliers was probably the first half because of how deep the Celtics are. And the threes, Ben, just keep raining down in Boston. Tough team out there. Easy win, game 1.
Not a great percentage because they hoisted 46 and only made 18, just 39%. But Derek White hit 7 triples. Jaylen Brown had a team-high 32 points. Spida on the other side. Donovan Mitchell doing all he can. He scored 33 for Cleveland over his points prop of 28.5. And after 34 points in the opening quarter for the Cavs, they still stay under their team total pregame of 98.5. Donnie and I were firing on all cylinders last night. Game goes over that total of 211 and a hook, but the Cavs still stay under 98.5. They have not scored more than 96 points on the road in any of their 4 playoff games so far here away from the land this postseason. Now to the real action last night. Blowouts by 20-plus in the NBA. Double overtime inside Madison Square Garden. What an arena and what a theater for it. And the Rangers take a 2-0 series lead in double overtime. 4-3 the winner for New York in a game, Donnie, that in-game action was nearly an hour and a half long. New York and 2-0 series lead after the 4-3 victory in double OT.
A fantastic game at the Garden last night. And also, if you're just betting the New York Rangers, it just seems like you can print money by just saying, let me take their top players to at least get a point in every game. And it seems like they do that. And also, keep in mind, coming into this series, the Carolina Hurricanes were favored in this series to win it. Now they're down 0-2, but they do head back home to Raleigh, North Carolina, see if they can get one of those kitchen sink game threes here. We'll see if it pans out. But the Rangers, man, showing out on their home ice. Good stuff, 2-0.
Vincent Trocheck, the winner in double OT, but Igor Shesterkin, sure, he allowed 3 goals, but he made 54 saves. 39 consecutive playoff games for Shesterkin, dating back to 2022, where he has not allowed more than 3 goals. Going into OT, you thought that might be in danger. No, sir. The Avs seemed as though they were in danger after the opening period last night in Dallas. Colorado down 3-0. They storm all the way back to force the extra session, and the Avalanche win it in OT, 4-3 over the Dallas Stars. A hefty pregame underdog. I can only imagine what the money line price was, being down 3-0 after 1.
I'm telling you, it's only a 1-0 series lead here for the Colorado Avalanche, but it feels like they're about to sweep Dallas, because how does that happen? You're on your home ice up 3-0 in the first period, and you end up losing 4-3 in overtime. Tremendous performance where a lot of teams might say, just didn't have it tonight, Ben, after period number 1. Let's not get injured here and see if we can salvage game number 2 on the road. And they handled their business, game all the way back in 1. Great performance by the Avalanche, taking that 1-0 series lead, and that's a devastating blow to the Stars.
The Stars minus 128 moneyline home ice favorite. They did drop both of their home games to start the series against Vegas before rallying. Carolina has been the home or the road favorite in both games inside MSG. The Rangers have won outright as an underdog. Some NBA news now here as we look at the postseason. Mitchell Robinson, the big man for the New York Knicks, out for the remainder of the playoffs with an ankle injury. Significant news. And Jamal Murray, who made 3 shots and threw 2 heat warmers onto the floor at the officials in the Game 2 loss against Minnesota, not suspended as we expected, but fined $100K.
Yeah, that's tough seeing out there. He's lucky he didn't get suspended. But as we know in the NBA, conspiracy theorists unite. They're down in the series. You can't suspend one of their better players there. If they were up in the series, you can absolutely do that. Hello, Draymond Green. So here we go. Some action-packed stuff of what you're not supposed to do, Ben, in the NBA is throw stuff at the referees or on the court.
The T-Wolves, a 5-point home favorite for game number 3, already up 2-0 in the series. And we expect the Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, to be back. Not just the prior DPOY, this year's Defensive Player of the Year. 4 times for the big Frenchman. He ties Dikembe Mutombo and Ben Wallace for the most in NBA history.